Hello and welcome back to another episode of KSP POV, where we play Kerbal Space Program in first person. Today we are working on getting some more satellites put up around our planet, as well as getting some money. So that is the name of the episode today, is the TTSP, because we were working on both tourist trapping and satellite placement. So as you see here, we don't have any missions except for to search the sky. And that's going to be going on for quite some time. All we got to do is wait for that to come through. I'm going to go ahead and grab any kind of major milestone. We see a couple contracts referring to mid-miss right now, so we're going to grab those because those are going to be our next. It's going to be our next big goal. We'll probably end up doing that in the next episode. But in this episode, we want to test out one of our new capsules. It's the ALCOR command pod that we're going to be unlocking today. And that's going to be good. It's going to be fun and exciting. But here I just grab a last little contract to collect some science. Here's some rescue Kerbals contracts. You gotta rescue them from the surface of the mod and from orbit and everything. I'm probably not gonna do those. I do enjoy rescuing Kerbals, but because we play with TAC life support, the moment I accept that contract, their life support starts to go down. And typically the ship that they're stranded on doesn't have any kind of additional life support, so they only have a couple hours to live. So if I were to accept those contracts, I would have literally just, moments to do it. So I went and I upgraded the observatory because I had some extra money. I wanted to see if that did anything special, but it didn't. Okay, so now we're here in the science, or the research and development node, and we go ahead and just right away, we're gonna just unlock the ALCOR pod. It's a three-seat capacity, IVA heavy command module. We used it a lot in the last POV series, so it will be familiar. But if you didn't see that, then I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun pod, and we can do a lot with it. So I think we're gonna. So now I need some kind of better solar panel or satellite thing. So I'm looking at both solar panels and communication dishes. And while there's a better communication dish in the node above, there weren't any solar panels. And then lastly, we go and get advanced rocketry because we need to get the Pila engine. And we're only like 60 or 50 science points away from unlocking it. So we go ahead and we do the one of the missions that we had to do science experiments around the KSC. And just hopping on this mission real fast will should give us all the science we need to unlock that last node that we wanted, which would be the rocketry, the heavy rocketry node. So yeah, so we don't need to put a Kerbal on this. We've done plenty of rover missions just by the probe control room. But since we have a new pod, I figured might as well test it out, right? Let's get some Kerbals in here and get them familiarized with the controls before we take them and throw them into space. So we're gonna have the Kerbals do this these science experiments. So go ahead and name that the Snow Hare 2. Now that we're using the rover bodies for our rovers and using electricity to move instead of rocket propulsion, we are now on the Snow Hare series instead of the Rabbit. So yeah, so we go ahead and load it up, put it on the launch pad, and then here it is. If you haven't seen this pod before, look at this. Look at how much stuff we've got. All these buttons. So yeah, so if you'd like a detailed view of how this pod works and everything, I will link a video down in the description where I kind of go through what each of the buttons do and why they're important. But for now, we're just gonna get a basic setup. We don't need too much. We're just grabbing some science. Alright, now we're gonna push ourselves forward. Let's bring our way down the ramp. Truly is the most advanced command pod, I would say. I think they did a wonderful job with this mod. And we are coming to a stop. We got a brakes button right there, so we just turn that on to get us to stop faster. There we are. So it's going to do the science set for the crawler way, and then we also have to do an EVA sample or EVA report. So we go ahead and get Yearwise out on EVA. She happily writes out her report and then tries to get back in, only to hear the laughter of her co-workers because nobody put a ladder on it. But I'm not going to focus on that mission. To just wrap that up, we go around, we do all the experiments, we get the experiments done, and then we went and unlocked the heavier rocketry tab. I didn't want to make another, roving around the KSC episode. I really wanted to focus on getting this pod into space, and so we're going to do that. We're going to kind of wrap up that first part of the episode, and then now we're going to move on to this part. So right now I am creating the satellite that the CTSP will be placing. It's and this time I'm using Ampere because in the previous episodes we made a lot of trash because I didn't make it strong enough, the batteries strong enough to power all the things that was on there, so basically was just junk floating in space. But this time I use the mod Ampere to let me know if I have enough electrical charge to survive being on the dark side of whatever celestial body it was set for. So now we know that this satellite will be able to have enough electrical charge to just keep itself powered, if nothing else. I mean, even if it doesn't have enough electricity on the dark side, it just needs to have enough electricity to counteract all the electricity that it's using, just powering those satellite dishes. So we put our descent stage, our radiators, our heat shield, drogue chutes, and regular chutes. One thing about the ALCOR pod is it does not like coming back into into Kerbal sphere. It does not like coming through the atmosphere whatsoever. Any atmosphere, it does not like it. So you have to think very specifically about your re-entry and make sure that you can handle it. So we go and we throw some parachutes on our side boosters and our main booster, and even on the little poodle engine up top. We're just going to try to see if we can recover any of this, because it's going to be a heavy rocket. It's going to be an expensive rocket, so any kind of funds we can return from that will be great. And so our pilot for today is going to be Shep Can. He was one of our early pilots. He's got a star already. We're also going to bring along Wilson, the engineer. He's never been to space before, so this will be a good experience for him. Yeah, here we are. This is going to be our first launch in the POV Season 2 with the ALCOR pod. But first of many. So I'm going to go ahead and just start by getting my screen set up the way that I like them. And I got the external cameras right there, looking down, giving me an idea of our momentums, if we're even moving. And then here is the scientist or the engineer seat. I'm going to go ahead and turn this screen on to vessel view real fast, but I'm going to pause. You should pause the video if you want to get the ALCOR pod. You should pause the video when I look up here, because you'll see all the mods. Go ahead and pause it right now. You can see all the mods that the ALCOR coordinates with. And then lastly, we take a view from the tourist. We give our best wishes to Belka and Strelka for a safe launch. And then we're back to Shepcam, who throttles up fully, throws on the ignition, and we are liftoff. The camera's doing the weird thing again, I don't know why, where it's not exactly stable. So I try not to pay attention to it. But now that we have these Pila engines, we have a lot of control and a huge amount of thrust, so we're going to go ahead and turn ourselves very early for our gravity turn. But we can do it because the Pila. So go ahead and stage that separation, or stage the separation of the side boosters. Now, we're going to be kind of fast forwarding through a lot of things. In this ascent, we've done ascents so many times, and I know that we haven't really done it in these pods, but there's going to be another episode after this where we take a trip using this instead of just an orbit. We actually go somewhere, and for that we can take a little bit more time and focus on what it takes to ascend in this pod. I'm going to turn off the cabin lights for now. A nice ambiance. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and throttle back a little bit because I don't need to be going as fast as I am through the atmosphere. All it's going to do is lose efficiency. You don't want to be having too high of a thrust to weight ratio, because then you're going to be spending most of that energy fighting the aero forces that you're trying to break through. If you bring yourself to between 2.5 and 3 thrust to weight ratio, it's usually better, at least in my experience. And here we are. We're at a 200 kilometer apoapsis. We're just going to drag that prograde marker to the right until we circularize. There we go. Get a nice even. Not quite 200, but it'll do. These satellites, I'm not going to get too specific in their orbit until later. I made it so that way there's enough fuel in each of the satellites to do a few maneuvers on their own, so we can come in here after all 3 have been placed and fine-tune their orbits then. So now I'm extending our solar panels, our whole deployment stage, and just look at that. Look at how much charge we get from those. These new and improved, upgraded Gigantor XL solar panels are going to be the workhorse of our space program soon. These and the Pila engines, both of those are going to be the backbone, if you will, of our program. This ALCOR maybe as well, but we might also end up using other command pods. It all depends. Coming in re-entry it's just dire. So we kicked off our lower stage, the one with the Pila engine, and now we're focusing on the Poodle engine to get us circularized. So I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward time here because it does take a little bit. And there we go. We are in orbit. So I go ahead and lock myself prograde for the deliverance of the satellite. But I noticed that my orbit wasn't exactly, and so I wanted to just adjust it a little bit. There you go. And my staging was incorrect. I was about to stage my lower engine, which would have got me stranded. So before we eject the satellite, I just wanted to have our engineer take a quick view of it. So he goes to its end, and then he realizes he's about to smack into the solar panel and break it. So he has to do some quick maneuvering to not hit it. But even though it's very dark, hard to see, you know, that's not hard to see, but the craft is hard to see. But he just goes and does a quick little visual inspection on it, declares that it's good, and then returns to the safety of the pod. So now that it's good, we're going to go ahead and stage it. And there we go. We went ahead and ejected it, and for some reason the camera wants to flip us out of EVA or IVA mode when that happens. So that's why we went out that. That's the game kind of did it for us. But now we're gonna just quickly take control of the satellite and then just open up the probe control room and just get the screen set up, because why not? Whenever we come back to this satellite and we take control of it, it's going to put us here in this room, so might as well just get it all situated, right? That's what real mission control does. So there we are. Now let's get back with our Kerbals, because this tourist is ready to come home, I believe. I don't think this tourist actually had anything else other than a suborbital flight that they wanted to do. They didn't need to be in space for a determined amount of time. That is the other Kerbal. That is the other tourist that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and point retrograde. We're going to bring down our periapsis. Let's make it nice and easy at 70 kilometers, right above the carbon line. And then we're going to make a maneuver on the opposite side of the planet and attempt to land close to the KSC. Now, I keep forgetting that the planet rotates, so when I put the X, I forget to account for that. So we're going to land just a little bit short of the KSC. Because I aim for the KSC, so we land a little short from that. So, but hopefully I'll be better at remembering that next time. So yeah, we time warp a little bit, and then when we're at the node, we go ahead and full throttle up, and then full throttle down. That's all we need. That should be enough to bring us home. We do have a lot more fuel left. We're going to be getting rid of about half our tank of fuel, but what can you do? So go ahead and hit the descent stage, and you can see that my chute is armed and my radiators are armed. So I go ahead and point retrograde, so our heat shield takes the brunt of the atmospheric reentry. And now, okay, so the thing about the ALCOR pod is that the safest way to re-enter through the atmosphere without a 10 meter heat shield is to do the spin technique. Now the spin technique is going to cause some flashing on the screen, so if you suffer from epilepsy or any kind of motion sickness, maybe turn away for right now, for the next like 2 minutes, I believe, because we're going to have to do a lot of spinning in order to keep ourselves from burning up in the atmosphere. The other thing you can do is look where my cursor is. Yeah, just look in the top right corner at the heat gauge. It's now in the top center of the corner, or the top center. That heat gauge is what is telling us whether or not we're gonna make it. And right now we're hovering about half to 3/4 full. As we get coated in fire, we have just mere moments before disaster. So we have to keep spinning and keep spinning, like our lives depended on it, because they do. This is why the Kerbals go through extensive G-force training. The tourist, however, has not. So the tourist is definitely probably passed out. We'll wake him up when we land. Yeah, you see how high my heat is getting? Just about there. Yeah, I am freaking out. I'm expecting at any moment to just get the screen that we killed everybody, and I would be very unhappy about that. And yeah, this whole thing, this whole re-entry took about 10 minutes, 12 minutes real time, and that's even with me time warping through the majority of it. Like, this was a long re-entry, and especially given that I was on the verge of overheating the entire time. Like, let me tell you how stressful this re-entry was. We're also getting the message for low charge. We don't have enough charge, and soon we're not going to have any control or any kind of visuals, and with the ALCOR pod, that's not great. But we see that our heat meter is not getting as high now. It's slowed down, and the visual effects have gone, so there's no more fire. So we safely made it through the atmosphere without burning up. And then when we lost electrical charge, it was at the appropriate moment, because it doesn't matter that we don't have charge now. Our parachutes are armed, so as long as they are rated correctly, they should activate. But other than that, not really much we can do except for look through the window and watch the planet quickly rise up at us. Like, I didn't think I was falling very fast until I started seeing the mountains. I'm like, oh god, we're falling very fast. And then suddenly the parachute grabs us and shakes us all about. And so I see myself doing that. So I go and I pop open the solar panels, because we're falling slow enough. I pop open the solar panels to just get a little bit of light, to maybe give myself a little electricity, and just see, to finally see the touchdown, get the information, and know all that. And thankfully the alarm went off very, very shortly afterwards, because that was a very annoying alarm. Couldn't turn off the low electricity alarm. Awful. But here we are. We're on a slope of 14 degrees with a curved heat shield, but somehow we managed to stay upright. So I'm pretty proud about that. That was a good mission. It's a harrowing re-entry as always, but it's successful. So let's go do it again, right? One good turn deserves another. We had 2 tourists set to go up, and we could have done them both in that run. We obviously had an extra seat in our pod, but that would have only then we would have missed out on being able to place another satellite. And so all we're gonna do, same crew, Shep, Cannon, Wilson, and then the tourist spot. But the things that we're going to change is I'm going to add an extra battery as well as 2 reserve batteries. Just so that way we don't have to worry about running out of electricity again. And especially since this tourist wants to be up for a whole hour in orbit. So once again, we're just going to kind of fly through this, basically. say hi to Strelka and Belka again, and then take off. And we're just gonna fast forward through a lot of this. It's literally the same mission as before. Get ourselves up to 200 kilometers, release a satellite, and let the tourists hang out for as long as they need to hang out for, and then bring them back home. So yeah, so this is just a duplicate of what we just did, so I'm just gonna, show the highlights. And once again, deploying our solar panels, and we're circularizing our burn, and we're finishing our circularization, and we get ourselves to an even orbit. Go ahead and take Wilson out on EVA. Just give a visual inspection of the craft. Also forgetting once again that I can't run into the satellite or the solar panels. Can't break a couple $100,000 piece of equipment. So yeah, everything looks good, so we're just gonna go hop right back on inside. And there is the satellite drifting away from us. Alright, so after spending the hour up in space, we made about 3 rotations. Two rotations, something around there. Around the globe. Once again, we're going to try to aim for the KSC. We discard our lower stage. We activate our descent. We spend a very long time on fire and overheating, and we're spinning so fast that our pieces are threatening to rip off the craft. You see there, the Kraken definitely has its eye on us right now, and our warning screen is just going crazy. But eventually we make it. The spin technique, tried and true, gets you there. Then the parachute pops open, and then it deploys. And now we're coming in a lot softer. I forgot to do it in the first one, but I checked the stage recovery mod, and it turns out that we actually recovered all 3 of those lower stages. Got a good chunk of money back from that, and so that's good. And then look at this. Everyone was so excited until we re-entered atmosphere, and then everyone got very serious very quickly. Yep, so this time we land in the water, splash down. But yeah, so now we have two new satellites, which will be 3 in total for ComSat's network around Kerbal, so we'll have to go and fix that. We got 2 tourists up there, which gave us a whole bunch of money, and so we're gonna have a lot to do. And in the next episode, we set our eyes on Minmus. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving me a like, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.